This episode of Pots and Trowels is brought to you with the support of Mr. Fothergill's and Cobra Garden. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Today I'm going to be pruning in the shrub border and starting to sow Brassica seed. Well, we've got some seeds to sow in the vegetable garden in a few minutes, but I noticed this yesterday, so I thought we'd do it straight away. This is the twisted hazel, contorted hazel, Corylus avellana contorta, also known as Harry Lauder's walking stick, and it's grown for these unusual twisted stems. Flower rangers really like this one. It looks very good when it's got no leaf on. And of course in the spring we get these lovely dangling catkins, which have just about finished now for the season. They're starting to die. This is grafted onto the ordinary hazel, the common garden hazel, which is a lovely woodland tree. But what tends to happen, and it's happened with this one, the rootstock has sent up suckers and we're getting these long growths going up there. Now they've probably been there for a couple of years, to be fair. I've just not noticed them. If we leave them, they will dominate this shrub and this will eventually die out because all the vigour is going into these. So what is really important is if you've got one of these, you have to cut these off literally down to ground level so all the energy can go back into the contorted stems. So we need to trace them right the way down to the base here. So we're going to cut them right down there to ground level. It's important that we do take them really close, and you can either use secateurs if they're small, or you can use pruners, or a little pruning saw is really handy to get down to the base. And it's literally cut them really low. These little pruning saws are really good. They cut on the pull stroke and they're ideal for getting down. So I'm going to take those out, carefully weave them out and throw them just out of the way. If they're a bit awkward to get to, or you haven't got a little pruning saw you can get in, then loppers are good. These are really good ones. These are little ratchet ones, and if we get those in there, they actually literally pump their way through and cut through, make life much easier, and do it like that. And there we go, that's all these suckers cut out from the rootstock. They're going to regrow, of course, so what you need to do every year or two is just check it, and as they're there, just take them out so that all the energy goes into this, and it will now grow much better as a result of it. But these lovely straight poles won't be wasted. They're great to use around the garden, and next week I'm going to plant out the sweet peas, and these will form part of the main support. Now's the perfect time to start sowing all your brassica seeds. That's members of the cabbage family, so it's cabbages, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, calabrese, all those lovely healthy greens. And we can literally have them all year round. And by sowing now, we're going to get crops that will produce from mid to late summer through the autumn and all the way through the winter. In fact, we're still cutting our purple sprouting broccoli now, which is absolutely delicious. There are two ways that you can grow them. The way I like to do it is to start them off either in small pots like this or in these plug trays where you just sow one seed per plug. If I'm doing them in pots, it's about a 4-inch pot, and literally all I will sow is probably 15 to 20 seeds on the surface, nice and thinly, just over the surface like that, and then a little bit of compost on there, water that, and that's fine in a cold frame or somewhere. And then as they grow, they will be pricked out, grown on in other pots or containers until they're ready to go in the garden. And if you do them in the plug trays, of course, you just simply pop the seedlings out when they're big enough. There's no root disturbance and they go straight into the garden. A more traditional way of doing it, and one that works very well, an idea if you've not got anywhere to start the plugs off, is to do them straight into the garden. Now this isn't going to be where they're going to grow for their entire life. This is a nursery bed, so it's going to be where we start the seedlings off. So all you do is take out a shallow drill with a piece of wood or something about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch deep, and then it's a case of sowing your seeds thinly. This is a cabbage. I don't need to sow all of that. That would be too many cabbages. I'm only going to sow a very short row and just tap them along there as we go, just carefully and nice and thinly, and that's enough. Put the label in there, which is going to be my next one. So I'm going to put a label in there, cover those over, water them, and they will germinate. And when the seedlings are 2 or 3 inches tall, we can carefully get them out of the ground with a trowel and transplant them into their permanent positions to grow on. So 2 ways of doing it, both work very well, but now is the time to get them in so they've got a long growing season. Well, thank you for watching Pots and Trowels, and please tell all your friends about it and share it. And remember, you can watch it on Facebook and YouTube for free. We'll be back again next time with some more things to do in the garden. See you then. Bye.